All right, and welcome back to another lesson. Now, we're going to we're I'm going to show you how I do more of a down shot. Not necessarily draw this position, but I'm going to draw this position again, but I'm going to show you guys how to do more down shots. Because a lot of people just do those straightforward shots because they don't know the steps to doing this. So if you're one of those people that don't know the steps, hopefully by the end you will know the steps. So one of the first things you're going to have to learn how to do is perspective, because it is a perspective shot, and it goes back to drawing boxes and more boxes. Like I would say in the beginning of my older videos, learn to draw your shapes. If you don't if you don't know how to draw your shapes, you're lost. It's like if you can't spell, then you can't write a letter to somebody. If you can't add and subtract, then you can't really spend money. So perspective, first thing you need is your eye line. Let's just go over real quickly some 1-point perspective. Here's your eye line, which means when you walk into a room, this is where your eyes are focused at, on this whole line across here. If you look down, well, you're looking down. So anyway, a 1-point perspective, that means you're focusing on this 1 point, or everything is going back to that 1 point. All your lines are going back to this 1 point. So if you ever do 1-point perspective, you're just doing this. And I used to use this as like an explosion. If something exploded, everything would go everywhere. So if I'm doing a box, following this line, it's going to go back. And these lines are crooked, so, forgive me. So if I did one above, one square, anything above is going to be, or below. Anything forward is going to be straight at you. And you follow these lines back. As I said, this is crooked, so I can do one over here. And then follow these lines back. And you can use that as a down shot as well, which is what we're going to use. So if you see, basically, let's just say this is the side of the building and you're looking up at it. But if you turn the camera around and you're looking down and these are your streets, here's your building, here's your windows in your building, here's your streets going left and right and every which way, then it's an actual down shot as well. So yeah, so we're going to be using that. So you got your 1-point perspective, and now your 2-point perspective is, well, this is 1 point where everything goes back to. 2 points, you're going to have 2 points where your lines go to. And it's always going to be on this line. I used to think that you can put a point here and a point there, and you have to keep it on the line. You have to. That's just the law of nature. So let me switch pieces of paper and do this again because that's clogged up. Stay focused. Now, one thing about 2-point perspective, they say the further away that you put your 2 points, the better it's going to be. Let me show you real quick. Let's just say put a point here and a point over here. Now, some artists, when drawing their stuff, they'll actually take another piece of paper and they'll tape it, maybe underneath or something, and then they'll extend that line all the way across. And then the other point will be way over here, and then just use a ruler, to keep it. Because, like I said, the further away, the better, unless you just need them real close. So I'll do one at a time. I'll do one side at a time, because when you get too many lines, it gets really confusing. So if I do a box, let's just say I'm going to do my box right here. Let's just do that. No, see, already, this is the part with 2-point perspective always used to throw me off, because your lines represent your top and your bottom. These lines are going to represent, this is going to be the top of my box, and I have to put another line here for the bottom of my box, right there. Always represent top and bottom, just remember that. I mean, it can represent sides too if you want to put windows or whatever in this box, but you'd have to go. And that's a whole nother lesson. And I don't want to get that deep into it because we're just going to do a box and then we're going to do the figure. So the other side, you're going to do the same thing. Problem is when you start doing lines, they intersect. So you're doing lines like this. And that's what used to confuse me because my eyes were looking at all these different lines. And I'm like, what am I using? How am I using it? What am I doing with it? But if you kind of focus your eyes, you'll see that each one starts to make a box. But it's like once you get really a lot of lines and you're trying to draw something in here where all these little lines intersect, that kind of confuses you. So if you're doing it, do one side at a time, then you do the other side. So this has got to go back to this line right here. That's got to go back to that line right there, and then you end it wherever you want to end it. So that's your perfect cube. I'm going to say box cube in 2-point perspective, because both of your points, top and bottom, are going back to here. Okay, now, so what happens if you draw a box above or below? Because this is centered on that eye line, but if you draw one above or below, what is it going to look like? So let me draw a few more lines, and hopefully I'm not going to confuse you guys, because perspective is something, it's really confusing once you know, yeah, it's just confusing. So if you look, you already have, let's just say the bottom of your box, because it's above you. So let's just use one of these. Let's cut this off like in the middle here. And this line has got to go back to that point. So I'm going to use this small one right here. So you're going to have your lines. Let's just say here's my 2 lines. Here's my side of my box. So remember, top and bottom have to go back. So however high I want this, I'm going to have to go back. And it's best if you use a ruler, because I'm trying to freehand this stuff. Anytime you do perspective, you're going to need to use that ruler. Let me bring it down a little more. So you have that. And just put your pencil or your point on that. Push the ruler against it, and then just kind of do like this. That way you'll know this won't move, because this is the most important part, that point right there. Then you come back and you do that. So I have the side of my box. Now I'm going to do the other side from the points. 1 point here, 1 point there, 1 point there. Put your ruler here, twist it to that point that you need, or that corner. Draw. I'm not going to draw all the way back because I don't want too many lines. Point right here, put your ruler here, and then put it there, put it there. Basically, put it here and then slide it around. Draw toward it, same thing. Twist your ruler to that point, and then draw down. Now, all you have to do from that is just draw straight up and down. Up, down, and up and down, up and down here. And then, even this bottom, you already have this line, so that helps out just because. Put it on this line, or put it on that point, put it on your corner, and then draw. And then you have your cube above you in perspective. And it's the same thing with below. So I'm going to do that real quick, because that's what we're going to do with the guy, with the drawing. So let's just use this. I already have this line here, so this is going to be the top. I'm going to have my sides coming down. This other side is going to have to go here, freehanding it, and this side is going to go here. Like that. So now you have your bottom, your top, and your center. Moving on to what? I just lost that for a second. Moving on. Okay, do that one more time, and I'm going to show you about the points real quick. If I do a box, this is going to be my 3 lines for my box. This is going to be a point here, showing you what happens if your points are too close, and a point here. So the top has to go here. The bottom has to go to this. This is going to be the bottom of my box here. This is going to be the top of it here, and this is going to be the bottom of it here. Bring that line up. So again, the top is going to go here, and the other side is going to go there. Now you see how off that box is because you have your lines so close. Unless you just wanted that shape. So this is what happens when your lines are too close. So when you spread them apart, so I'll say like if I keep this one and I put this one here, then my box becomes a little better. Let me change colors. So I'm just going to follow that line here. And then right here, follow that line, let's just say here. This is going to go back here. And then that makes for a better cube versus the one that's all kind of, scrunched up. So that's why you have to spread them apart. So now that we have that out the way, when you do a person, especially when you're going to do more of like a down shot on that person, I could have went down more, but I don't want to do too hard of a angle. What you have to do is basically your 2-point perspective, your eye line. And since you're seeing the top of his shoulders, or the top of the character's shoulders, that means he's going to be below your eye line. Let me see if I can get another piece. Did I use the back of that? I did. I'm going to try to draw this small for the time being. So here's my eye line here. Now, you're going to have to do this like several times, because you won't get it right the first time, because a lot of times it still screws me up seeing it. So I'm going to try to draw dark, because I remember in editing, some of this stuff was like unseeable. So I'll say I put a line here, a point here, and a point here. Now, I want my character. Well, let's do the box first. So let's say here is my character, or my box for my character. Now what you want to do is you want to fit the character into this box. So just for laughs, this is going to be my front box here, okay? So I want to have this point going here, this point going here, and you screwed up already. Okay, so I noticed that already. So this point going here, and then this point going here and here. See, it's that perspective thing. And it's also drawing boxes. All right, so again, it all makes sense in the end. You have that, then you drop your line on here. Now this is going to be really wide, but it all falls into place later. So you have this, and then you want to have this coming here, and then this going there. So this is my box. This is my box in perspective. Well, you just killed that perspective, didn't you? Yes, I did. And the best thing is just to start just drawing boxes. Draw and draw and draw these boxes until you get it right. Because as you just see, I screwed up with the one, because I'm so used to drawing forward boxes. I freehand my drawings a lot because I'm just so used to freehanding them. So here's your thing, and this is one thing about this. It should have been way off, but since it's not, it's not. All right, so this box is fat. This is fat. And I'll show you why this is not straight up and down. This is why I don't like perspective. It has to be right, or it's going to be screwed up. Especially when you're doing like cities and buildings and stuff. You will screw up if you don't get that thing right. All right, so enough of that. You have to practice that part on your own. I'm going to start kind of freehanding this so this won't get too crazy. So what we're going to do is you're going to put your character in this box. And usually I'll use this as the top of my shoulders. So if you do that oval first, because it's not going to be square, you can use it. You can do a square. You can just do the square and then center it off if it's easy for you to do. If it's easier for you to do, and that will suffice as your torso. But you still have to come down and do the rest of the thing, the rest of the parts of the body. I have to remember I'm talking to someone that doesn't know what I'm trying to say. So what I do is this, that. Now, with doing the body, you're going to have these extra lines as well. And I'll show you why in a second. Let me just throw a couple of them up here. So this is my torso. This is oval shaped. Then I want to have my collarbone, and I'm trying to, let's do blue. Let's do blue so you can kind of stay with me. As I said, you're going to have to do this a couple times. This is my center line. This is my center line. This is an oval. So the center line is going to come around this oval. Now, I want to have my collarbone, let's just say here. Let's just put my collarbone right here, okay? I put my stomach, which is the mountain, right up in here. Don't make it so wide. Just kind of think of doing a triangle if you can't really do the circle. Now, from here to here, this point here, I'm going to curve this up. Actually, it's supposed to be there. I'm going to curve that point up. And this is, I call this the beetle. If you're with me for the first time, I do my torsos. Like when I learned to do my torsos just by looking and trying to measure. This is the round part. This is your center line. This is your collarbone. This is like where your stomach, this is where your abs go in here. So from this point to this point, up, up. So here, this, I'll make a V right here because this is your shoulders. Go back and look at the last video. Your delts come off here. This is your chest. Your chest is just above this part right here, this little arch right here. And at this point, that's where it curves. This is why these two lines here, because this is the curve of your chest. So right here, if you turn sideways, I'm doing my chest. If you turn sideways, the chest is going to curve at that point. So coming here, do my delts. Do my other delt. It's going to be behind that. Remember, your delts go way behind your back. If you did not see my last video, I'm using my dummy, my drawing figure. Actually, I use it for a drawing figure. And what I did was I marked it so that you can follow the muscle. So I can use that as an example because a lot of times you have to see to believe, like, basically. So what was I saying? It comes up here, and this is where your chest turns. Here, your delt. And oh, the delt goes behind the back. So this is your delt right here. This all the way back here. These are your delts. You have 3 heads to your delt. So you see how far this thing goes all the way to the back in your back. So if I am angling it at like this angle, you're going to see part of that delt go back around. So it's going to come out like this. Same thing here. Right there, here's your chest. Chest is going to curve here and then curve around here. All right, so once you get that torso locked in, and then your neck is right here at this V point, at this point here, it's going to come up and then go up. It's not going to go all the way back here. It's going to, your neck is right there at this point here. And it comes up, and what you can do before you put a head is just kind of bring it up and make that little circle, that hole. Saying this is where my head is going to go later. Now, the problem with this is not really a problem, is that the feet are definitely going to come out. That's why I usually freehand it. I don't do boxes too much, but this is to show you guys these lines are crazy important when you're doing that. Just think of a box when you draw. So I'm going to have my tuna can, as I call it, because it's a shape of just this. If you look at it from below, it's kind of round. I call it a tuna can. It's just because it's easier for people to draw little simple shapes than to think about something that's hard. If I said to draw a lamp, you'd be like, oh my God, a lamp, a lamp. But if you think of a lamp as just being kind of like a triangle, this is a little cheap lamp, you know, just a stick and then a little square. And then, you know, you have a lamp, or you can cut it off right here. Cut this little triangle off, and then you have a more expensive lamp. And this is the one with the little string. So a little tuna can, you know, that, how scary is it to draw that? And that's what it looks like. And then I call this the upside down house because it's an upside down house. It is an upside down house for your, what is that, your hips. This is your waist, this is your hips. Yes. So it just makes it a little easier for people to draw, because when you started drawing, you drew houses. Everybody draws like a house or something. So this is curved. Remember, this whole thing is round. Don't put it right here. This is just where the inside of your stomach comes. So you want to put this, and then you want to put your upside down house. Roof is at the center line like that. Coming down, this is the point of your roof here. Remember, you want to round that off later. So now comes the hard part, is the feet, legs. So depending if you want to have your legs straight up and down or out a little bit, let's bring it out a little bit. So what I want to do first is just start with the thighs right here. This one side, and then the knee, and then you get, so basically you're getting the length of your legs compared to your torso. And this is why I say it always goes out the box, but don't worry about the box too much yet. So we have this, we have your knee, and then we have your, whatever this part of the leg is called, the lower part of the leg. If this is your thigh, this is your knee, this is your calf, or shin, I guess. Why would you name two parts of the, because you have a bicep and tricep. So come down here, and then I put my foot out here. Now, the second leg, so we have this. We're not worried about that. We measured this basically by eye to the length of your torso. So the next part is going to be this. We're going to have this, and that's going to come, this other part of the thigh is not going to be right here and here. It's going to be behind or inside there because you want to make it fat. I'm just going to draw it, and I'm going to show you what a lot of the problems are. And then you have the knee, and then you have the calf and the other leg and the foot. And it's kind of right because I'm just so used to doing it. So, okay, so now you have this. You have your two legs and your 2 feet. Now, the one thing about these lines is it's important that everything falls on these lines. So if you're doing your knees are going to have to go back to that line as well. Let me go and use a color. So let's just say, okay, I want to do this. This is my leg. So I got that leg right. I want that leg. I got it. Okay, it looks good. I'm happy with it. It's right. You know, good. Now I have to work on the other leg. Now where this knee is, this knee has to go back towards that line. The bottom of that knee has to go back towards that, not that line, but that point. Put your pencil on the point, put the other end of the ruler, and then draw. That's my line I'm working with. Now the thing is with this, your other knee, and this is why you don't want them too close, your other knee has to fall on this line here. This is where your knee is going to be, on this line. Now your foot, let's say your foot, let's do the ankles. Where's my point? My point is right here. It's going to go here as well. Where's that at? Right here. Okay, so this is going to be my ankle right here. This is going to be that ankle right here. And again, you don't want your points too close. This is a bad reason why. But this is going to be some serious perspective shots. So since my knee is right here, I only have so much room for my thighs and so forth. So this is going to go here. The chest is going to go there. My crotch is going to go there. So let's do this blue. So these are going to be my thighs right here. It's going to be my knee. This is going to be, and you're going to have to shorten that to what I'm trying to say and draw at the same time. Even the foot, you're going to have the foot. I'm trying to get this foot down straight because it's got to go out for not balance, but to hold it, which would be balance. And I'm going to bring this in. Because I want it to be like this little curve. And then bring it down. Where's that foot? How's that foot going to go like this? Draw the triangle. Let me ink that. Let's bring this knee over here because if that foot is there, that knee is going to be over to the side. Now the same thing has to happen with the arms. And I'll draw a better one without being so cramped in the box. This is one reason why I say I don't really use the box, and this is your points have to be a little further away. So we have your knee, you have all this has to fall on that same line going back to that point. You can take liberties, you know, a lot of times, but yeah. Okay, let's draw my arm. Now remember, the elbow is right around here. So if this is round, remember this is round. So if I'm coming my bicep, so my bicep and tricep is going to stop right at this point where the bottom of your ribs are, like that. And I'm going to go down to this, and your wrist is going to stop right here. So remembering these lines. So your elbow is going to stop back here. Then if I'm remembering my lines, let's ink that because it's getting a little too messy for Brian. So this goes down around about the chest, point of the chest. Tricep, bicep, bicep, tricep, and then your forearm. Stopping at the crotch line, and then you have your hand like that. So again, following that line, my bicep, I already have that, it's going to stop right about here. Providing your arm is straight down. My wrist is going to stop right here. Again, providing the arm is straight down, and I'll bring that fist in, like that. I know this is really messy, but it just, once you do this enough, then you'll be able to just go ahead and kind of basically freehand it just with these lines here without having to do your box. And then, let's say I put my head, got my neck, and I put my head. So if I ink this with a quick rough ink, wow, so many lines. I know, let me get a bigger pen. Collarbone comes up here. This is my delts. Delts go all the way back. These are my traps, my neck. And those two lines that come to your neck. Where's my head? He's looking at me like his head is tilted, like, oh, I'm so sad looking. Yeah, you gotta watch what you do with that head. Chest. Turning at that line. Coming down. I'm not gonna put that much detail into the abs. And there is a point that you turn where you won't see the side. How can I say that? Like you see this and you see your sides, which are your love handles, and your abs come in, the walls of your abs or whatever that would be called, comes in. But when you turn your body, because of this and this shape, there's a time where you won't see some of your side. You'll just see the abs will like come out to the wall. I think I drew it here. Right here, you'll just see the abs, and then later on you'll see like that love handle. Let me show you. This is why I have the figure. This is why I have the figure. Okay, you have your abs and you have your wall. Once you turn it to a certain degree, you just see the abs. Where's my finger? These are the abs, and then you just see the love handle. So you won't see all of this here. But that's just a certain angle that you turn to, that you have to do. You don't have to really worry too much with certain angles that happens. And it took me the longest time to see that. So I said, I'm not gonna worry about the abs. So this is my knee. This is how does that go? Like this, curve around. I'm not worried about muscles too much. Always remember you're looking down, so whatever is on top is going to cover, like if you do this, you're going to cover some of that knee. And just keep inking, Brian. This is a poor excuse for ink, but that love handles your, if you're doing the ribs from here, if you go straight up and curve in here, your ribs are on that line right there. If you do like a little fang, like a lion fang, you have your ribs here, and then you have your serratus muscles. But I don't do the serratus muscles, but this is just like a line up, just kind of like a If you want to do ribs, if you guys are so bad, and then you have your serratus muscles there. But the whole point is these lines. If you have just one side, this is really not that important. But I had to do that to show you the box. You have to twist it. I don't have a box here. This is a really thin box. You have to twist it just to see the side of your character just a little bit, but it's not that important. It's not that important to have that. But these lines, these converging lines, show you where everything sits at. That's the important part. So let me draw one more without being too difficult. And I have to get a piece of paper. Or do I have another piece of paper? I do. Always be prepared. So let's see if I can keep this right here. All right, so I'm going to draw my figure. It's going to be 3/4 view. 3/4 view. Torso. Center line, which is over to the center. How long? Again, torso. Center line, because it's going to be 3/4. Remember, this is not a circle. This is more of an oval. So then I'm going to get my collarbone. I don't know if I'm doing this in the right steps, but I'm going to try to make sure. Let me get my torso first. And as I'm gonna stop referring back to the other videos because this is a new video. If you're looking at your figure straight on, he's talking to me, I'm looking at him eye to eye. His collarbone is going to be straight across. If it's down or above, then you're going to start seeing that V. So if you don't have that V, then your character is not, I'm not seeing down on it. He's face to face with me, shall we say. So I'm going to have this little V. I'm going to do my little mountain or my cave from this point to this point. So you already have that same line over here. And you have something left over. So now I want to rough my figure. Well, let's stay with this because you already have it 3/4 view. Hold for that neck. Now, okay, so we want to go down knowing that this, let's just say we got this, because my character is going to go all the way down. So my point is going to be, are you focused? It's going to be way out here somewhere. So I'm just kind of like freehanding it. As long as you have this stuff, you're good to go. But I'm just going to kind of freehand it to show you guys. So then I'm going to put my waist, my tuna can. Remember, this is going to go in, this is my tuna can, and this is going to be my hips. Now, this is not going to be as hardcore foreshortened as this one, but you're going to see it. It is lean down because of these lines right here. And remember, if you have to take another piece of paper and put it over here and then draw your lines all the way out, then you can do that, or just draw really small like this. And make your figure even. Your figure could be like this size until you get it all down. And then once you get it down, then you can go and do a bigger figure. All right, so my legs should not go off. Now, as I say, I'm going to put my leg. You can start with the front or the back. I'm looking at the front because I want to kind of curve it in a little bit. And then my foot, and then the other leg. You can draw it all in. Don't worry about the lines yet. I'm just trying to get some kind of balance here. So he won't be just so stiff. And then my arms, let's put my head there just because. Are you still seeing this in the camera? My head, the way you got it, he's like turning, he's looking that way, which is fine. He can look this way. He can be cool. He's waiting for his Uber. I was gonna say a cab. Who waits for a cab now? Or bus? It's Uberville, like that. So I'm gonna put his arms down. I could put his arms on his hips, or I don't know. We'll see. Just put his arms down, just because. And they're not going to be straight down, so you're going to have to, like the elbow is going to have to be above this. If I had it straight down, the elbow would have to be here, but it's going to be above this. So now I have my character. Already you can see he's kind of in that perspective, but once you start making sure like your ankles, and see, I'm so used to doing it, it's kind of coming out halfway right. So, but this one right here at this turn, this is where the elbow is going to be. And let's just, should I put his arm all the way down or put his arm all the way up? Let's put his arm down. I mean, because I was going to put it up like, you know, like that. I mean, you still can, you don't have to, but for the sake of measuring, the main part is, to me, it's like from here to there, these lines. And then of course you have to see the top of that. So, but let me finish this. And of course, one is going to be higher, one's going to be lower. Which one's going to be lower? Which one's going to be, okay, just remember, if the arm is out, it's going to be hardcore again. This is where you take liberties. You can take liberties and do that, because if I put his bicep way up here on this line and I put his wrist right here, it's basically going to be right, but it's just, to me, it's going to be too short. So you take liberties. I don't want to take too much liberty. But as I say, to me, it's from here to here is the most important part. So if I do his knee, is his knee right here, and I go back, his knee is going to be right here. If we do his ankle right here, and it's got to go, it just can't go like willy-nilly every which way. It's got to go back to that point. So if you straighten these lines out, it's going to come to a particular point. I'm just so used to doing it. That's why I say you're going to have to do it several times before you know, kind of get it right. So this is going to be his ankle right here. Still keeping that little curve. And then this foot has got to be right on that line, since his other foot is there too. So the legs are right. Let's see this arm. See, and if I put both arms down, or if I put one arm up, then it really doesn't really matter with the lines. And the shoulder, same thing with the shoulder. It's going to have to kind of, depending on where your lines are. So this would probably be, if I did it correctly, somewhere up in here is going to be my eye line. It's going to be up in here. So this, of course, is going to be below it. So you're going to have that turn. So as I say, and I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but it really doesn't matter. It's just for me, it's like from this point down, those were the lines matter. So let's do this. I'm not going to take liberty with this arm, but I can't have one down. This one would have to be the lower one, realistically. And since his arm is out, this is good proportion for that arm. So this one would have to be up just a little bit more. I couldn't have the hand down like this, because it's way off. I mean, you might see it and say, oh, that looks okay, but it's kind of off. And it depends. If the arm was straight down, yes, but if the arm is out, no. Okay, eraser, I'm not liking you because you are leaving eraser stuff. Time to retire you. So let's just say I do this, and I'm going to take just a little bit of liberty, and then just take it back just a little bit, and then this is wrist right here, and then even a hand. But all that would have to be uniform for it to work. Like I said, if he had his hand up, then you throw all that out the window. But if his hands are both like together, but if you have one different, then you throw it all out the window. But if it's uniform, they both spread out the same amount, and both fingers are, you know, then you're going to have to keep it on the line. So I'm just doing that because to show you guys, because I don't want to show you one way and then turn around and say, no, don't worry about that, don't do that. So this is basically what you would have right here. These lines, wherever your foot ends, not necessarily, because one foot could be turned out more, one foot could be turned in. But if I turn his feet in more like this, then yeah, I would have to kind of put his toes on that same line, unless he has one foot bigger and one foot smaller. Comic books or drawing is depends. It's a lot of depends in it. People don't say, they just say, oh, draw a hand like this, but you know, we'll draw a fist like this. But what if I don't need a fist like this? What if I need a fist like this or like this? So it all depends on the angle that you need or you want to see or you have to see. So once again, quickly, and then I'll finish this. I don't know, maybe I'll dress him or whatever. I don't know. Here's my figure, quick figure. Really quick figure. He's forward, so he's a forward figure. So you definitely gonna have to give him a side, because if it was a box, you're gonna have to see that other side of the box. Wow, I didn't look. Okay, again, quick figure. I don't know how long it was blurred. He's facing forward, pretty much. If I draw that straight line down there, he's facing to me forward. You're gonna have to give him a 3/4 view, so you're gonna have to turn him to the side, which means you're going to have to adjust that line right here, where his leg is. Because again, if it was a box, you'd have to see this part. It's got to go back here, and this part's got to go back here. So now we have my lines. You can figure out where your point is, you know, how far below the eye line this guy is, and then have your points. It could be rough points. It's your drawing. Then, as I say, you gotta have, you start out, you got your proportions right. You say, okay, this is what I want, especially this side of it. This side of it is what you will be mainly concerned about. Please tell me the camera's still filming. Thank you. So here's my torso. I already got my rough. This is the size of the guy I need. So here's my torso. I already have my line turned because I did this line here. This is my waist, and this is my hip right there. So now I want to work on this side and get this leg right. I want to work on this side and get this arm right. Remember, he's below my eye line, so I'm going to see down on top of his shoulders. Get my arm right. This is what I want to do with my arm. And you can draw the stick, whatever, and then you just lines and then put the muscles in later. You want to get your balance, proportions, and posture right. And here's my head. So now I'll come back and I'll say, all right, this is my delts. And if you're dressing the person, you don't have to worry too much about my delts. This is delt, yeah. No, yeah. Okay, it's one of those minutes. You get all this right first on this side. Here's my leg. And then from there, then you take those lines and you go back. Even this it's going to be really hard because this line should have been like way over here somewhere. But that's why you always rough this, and then you can always move that line. Like I don't have to take it to this line. I could make a line over here and make it less sharp, shall we say? Or I could put my line here, my point here, should I say. It depends on what you want or what angle you want. So I'm going to use this. Let's just say I'm going to take all my lines over towards this here. And this could be way out here. It should be way out here. So I'm going to take my knee and I'm going to take this out. So that's what I'm saying. If I use this, that knee is going to be way up here. Which if I did it, it still would be right. But it's just a really hard angle. So take my knee and put this knee over here. Take this angle. Where am I at? Like something like this. So I'm going to take this. This is my ankle. I always stop it at the ankle. And then I stop it at the foot. So this is my ankle right here. And this is my foot. And of course, you know, you have to turn your feet to give that person that stand. Then depending on what the arms do. But if I put his arm up in the air, then, you know, that's a bust. That's, you know, no, you don't. I don't have to use these lines. You just have to get it in proportion. So these lines here, and same with the belt. If you put a belt on, that belt has to be there. Or should I say, if you're strapping on straps or something, you have to follow those lines. I was going to say something, or my chest has to follow that as well, and then it curves. But mainly it's down here. This is the part that you got to get right. Yeah. As I said, you can take liberties with it. Unless you're drawing like a professional comic, then you gotta, get it right. But just practice it as much as you can, and then it'll come to you. I promise you it'll come to you. So elbows, wrists, and again, it depends on the position that the person is taking. So let's do this. Chest is going to curve. I always do a curve on my chest, and then I curve it up here, right there, and then you have this. I just do this little dip here and curve it up. So this, if you want to do, like I said, these ribs from this point here, if you go straight up, kind of like a round, and then you just make a fang, like a fang, then you can have your ribs and they come straight across. I think you only see like 5 of them. And then if you want to do your serratus muscles, these extra little ribs, they come down at that angle. But to me, that makes a person look skinny. So I don't really do it. Makes him look hungry. He's hungry. Curve that up. This is just a me thing, because some of my favorite artists do this, and then they'll do like this extra muscle up here too, and then it sucks in, and you'll see some of this. If I do abs, I won't just go straight down. I'll take this first one in, like is it called a vacuum that bodybuilders, the old bodybuilders do that. They suck their stomach in and it pulls their spine in, and then I'll bring it back out. It just gives them that more of that, muscular, and then I'll bring the next set out, and then the next set stays out as well. It just gives it, to me, like I said, that little more muscular look. And this comes down. This is here. This is my obliques, which you don't always have to draw. I just kind of use it as a reference. You can come straight down, because who was it? John Byrne. I used to love John Byrne's work. He would always draw from the torso straight down. Everything was straight down right to the crotch, and then he had the legs. He had his legs, in every position. He didn't do this. Like I said, this is just from reference for me, but all this stuff past that was just straight down in whatever position. If you had people flying, that's going to be straight, always straight. And I liked how he did that, but from me observing, I know that people had love handles, so I just kind of incorporated that. And then again, you have these muscles, and one day I'll learn them. And the outside is higher, so it's like way up here really, and you get this. But since your knee is more of like that diamond shape, just keep both muscles on top of it. It just makes it easier. The little meat comes out here, and then it goes around shin bone, and then you have and that gives you that kind of like roundness when you're doing your legs. Remember that. It's like a teardrop. Always remember where the center of your leg is when you're turning it to the side, based on that point in your knee. And I think your knee is really turned. It's not really centered, but use that as a reference, as the center of your leg. That way you won't get so thrown off by doing legs at angles. And I think I won't dress this, because I know it's 49 minutes. I'm trying to keep my videos down. Sometimes it just don't work. Tricep, bicep, split them in the middle. You don't have to have that middle muscle. You can, but once you learn the muscles better, then you can do it. And then this comes around. Your elbows come straight down into your elbow, because it is like, I'll just show you like that. You have this little piece here. It comes straight down, and that's your elbow. It comes from that horseshoe straight down, and then you have that bone. Where's my bone? That bone right here. tiny hand. That hand is a little too small and his wrist is a little too long. I wish I hadn't drawn that so dark. About right there, and then I'll make the fists. And then, of course, make this a little thicker. Give it a little more wrist. And then give him a better hand. What is that? Not the calf, the palm. Goes right into that thumb, which comes up, which curves around into that fist, the finger, which is bent there. And you can see the other part of the palm, depending on how much the hand is turned, and you'll see these fingers come in. As I say, it depends on how much that everything is turned. And then you have that other part of your thumb. This is just that one joint, and then you have that other one. You're seeing this. I'm trying to show you on camera. Depending on how much that you have your palm right here, depending on how much you turn, you're going to see that other piece of palm, and you're going to see those other fingers come around and then tuck into that. Use your own hand. Get a mirror. First thing you do, invest in yourself. If you can buy some kind of dummy or figure, do that. Get a mirror, even if it's like a small, tiny mirror. This is not a mirror, but if it's a small mirror you can put in front of you, that way you can, look at your hands and so forth. So that really helps greatly, because I had a mirror. My table, the way this is set up, I can't put a mirror. I can probably put one on the wall, but I have a lot of just like papers and stuff on the wall for reference. But yeah, that's two things you have to get a mirror, and if you can get like some kind of dummy, they might not have all the muscles, but at least you can kind of like pose them and then figure out, look at your pose and say, okay, this is this and that's that. So yeah. But this is $89, Amazon. It's not Feisen anymore. It used to be Feisen something figure. If I can remember, I will leave a link. And subscribe. I keep forgetting to say that. Subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you're liking this stuff. And give me a thumbs up. Because that's the only way, not Facebook. When I draw and talk, I get lost. YouTube recognizes what you do. It's by how many people give you likes, because they figure if you take enough time to give a like and a comment, then the person is doing something well. So if you don't really comment, then they don't really notice. Algorithm is an algorithm thing. So of course you have your two muscles from your neck going up. Your neck is coming down and going into your traps, and you have this little upside down V because of the muscles coming down this way and curving in. So you're gonna have that little dip right there. So that's gonna be it for this one. Just follow those follow these guidelines. Just set a point one more time. Set a point somewhere here. Draw your character 3/4 view. He could be from the other side. You don't have to have him, facing that side. He could be from the other side. Draw your character 3/4 view, or draw your figure out the size you want it on the paper or wherever you want it. 3/4 view. Put that center line in. Then you can have a million lines. So if and I shouldn't have done that. Let's just do this. If I use this guy here, hopefully he's big enough. Give him some more meat. If I want to dress this guy, maybe like military or whatever. So if I want to put his belt on, give him a smaller waist. If I want to put his belt on, I'm going to follow this line. I got to follow that line. If I want to put it like a chest thing on, I have to follow that line here too. So let's just say, where's his freaking head? Here's his head. So, little chest thing, vest on. It's going to be round, but I'm going to follow that line. If I have his boots are going to be on these lines as well. Come on, camera. This is important. Following the lines, again, If I got the chest thing on here, if I have a wristband on, I have to still follow that line, follow these lines. If I have one on up here, still have to follow these lines. So as long as you're drawing these lines to this point, you're good to go. Except if he has his arm up. If he has his arm up, then you're going to have to do right. Like I said, the boots, you're going to boots, but of course they're going to be round. If you got something on the ankles, you're going to have to follow that line. So yeah, just remember that. If you're dressing that character or that person, you're not drawing people, you're drawing characters, character design, head. And of course, this has got to go down because you're going to, well, this one is, the eye line is right here. So of course, you know, I screwed that one up. So it's not going to come down. The shoulder is going to come down. And that's the same thing if you want to lower somebody, if you want to raise somebody. Eye line could be down here. Your eye line, or put the dot down here. So this is your eye line. So everything is going to go up. So his shoulder is going to come down. Eye line. Shoulder's going to come down like that. You're going to see the top of the head. Everything follows, same thing. If it's here, it's going to be here. If it's here, it's going to be there. If his arm is here, the other arm is going to be there. Except you're not seeing down into the shoulder. You're not seeing down into the shoulder. You're seeing like up at the collarbone, and you're going to see less actual shoulder. Just practice that. Just do your bunch of lines. And as I say, the other side would come down like this, but that doesn't really matter that much because you're not seeing, it's not real thick, so you don't see that. Only buildings. It's just the person he's not, and he's going to be round anyway, so you can't really do that, turning that roundness into a square. But it has to follow these lines, especially the knee, the foot, the arms. Like I say, everything below this to me is what's most important, but you got to have that chest too, because that chest has got to go to that line. So yeah, all right, I'm not going to ramble anymore. So from this cold freehand warm up to using more of my guidelines, let me get all this junk out the way because this is going to be my thumbnail. Yeah, and it would be the same thing with this guy. If you really measure it, but this, I got carried away. And this was crazy freehand. So realistically, this stomach is here, this stomach is there, this foot is there. So it's kind of off, but you can take those liberties once you know what you're doing. But in the beginning, you want to kind of do that. So yeah, that's going to be it. Again, if you like, leave me a thumbs up, comment. I try to reply to all my comments. YouTube has done some crazy stuff, so I don't get notified that I have these comments, so I have to go back into the video. And once I do a video, I really don't look at it. I just keep moving on. I never really look back, but I'll go every now and then and check to see if somebody did like it and comment, and I'll write back to you. So yeah, that's it. Notification, thumbs up, like, comment if you got the time. And I will see you guys on the next one. I'm going to start doing more and more teaching anatomy and to transition that into doing comics, because I start my next comic book, and I'll show you as I'm doing my comic book as well, and we'll just incorporate everything that I'm showing you. Nice hand motion, Brian. Incorporate everything that I show you into those videos, upcoming videos. All right, that's it. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next class. Class dismissed. I'm gonna get a bell sound. It's going, and we all go home. Bye.